Good morning, everyone. This is Leslie Jouflas with Trading Live Online, and welcome back to your Daily Five. And thanks once again to StockCharts for inviting me back. This is the segment where we have about 10 minutes to present five charts. But today, what I'm going to do, a little bit different, a little departure from what I usually do, we're going to go back and we're going to check up and see how did these patterns work out that I presented on your daily five from September 8th segment. So you can check out that segment for a little more detail than what I can give in the beginning here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through. Oh, first of all, here's my website, and here's my email address if you'd like to send me an email. I'm going to go through the slides that were on that September 8th segment so that you can see where the price and the patterns were positioned at this time. Then I'm going to switch to my live charts and we'll follow up with these charts. So Apple at the time from September 8th was in a sell pattern position. At the top of a trend line, there was what's called a butterfly sell pattern. And it was right around this 157-ish area up here at the top of this trend line. So the next one that we had from September 8th was symbol GBTC, Grayscale Trust. You can kind of see that up here. It kind of tracks Bitcoin market. So that one had been a sell, and where this dashed line is right here, it's at the time that a retracement back up a lot of times halfway into big candles like this can offer good opportunities for trade setups. This one would have been a sell setup. So we'll follow up on that. And then I presented three charts from the energy sector, starting with XLE. The ETF, now this is a buy pattern. So I had lots of buy patterns that were setting up in this sector. And so XLE, this is what's called a Gartley buy pattern. This is where you have one swing and then you have an A, a B, a C, a D pattern. This is a retracement pattern that tests recent highs and lows. So the price was right here. The entry point was right down here. Price had not gotten there quite yet. So we'll follow up and see what happened with that. All of these have similar patterns. Schlumberger was the next one, symbol SLB, another Gartley buy pattern. Price had not quite gotten down to the buy point yet. And then the last one I presented that day was the Gartley buy pattern in Haliburton, symbol HAL. And Haliburton was just a little bit farther away than the rest of them. This D point here, this is what we consider the entry point. This is the buy point, and the risk can be placed just below the lows of where the first swing of the pattern is. So now let me switch to my live charts. Okay, so now let's start. I've got them all up here. So let's start with Apple. So Apple, this is where the 157 area was, and this was the sell pattern here. And so it said at the time that this turned, this internal trend line, let me move this over a little bit. This was going to be like a first target area here. If we break this trend line, more than likely coming down towards the lower end of this. Apple had been forming a series of bearish patterns. And here, back here all the way from last January, there was a butterfly sell pattern. You can see it came all the way down, found support at that lower trend line. Same with this one here. And so that's why I'm expecting Apple to potentially get down to this lower one. I had also pointed out in the segment from September 8th, a comparison using this type of pattern recognition versus using something like a moving average crossover system. And at the time, if you notice, you can scroll back to the slide that I showed you before. This pattern actually turned to the downside where the moving averages were, but they still have not crossed over and given any type of a sell signal. So these patterns are leading types of patterns. You're able to control risk in these, and you have a setup like this where it's coming right up to another resistance point, and the risk can be managed and then targets figured out in advance. So this is where Apple is. And now if it doesn't exceed this low right here, and it gets some type of rally up, this may then form an A, a B, a C, a D, another sell pattern here. But if it exceeds this little low right here first, then the expectation is that it's working its way down lower towards this trend line. So here's the chart, a GBTC that was from, again, September 8th. And here, right here, this blue line, this is where that dashed blue line had been. And GBTC came right up to the center of the real body of this candle and found resistance and has been moving towards the downside. I think that these might have a little bit further downside to go and then maybe another bounce to the upside. But for the most part, these are just in big ranges right now with a bit more of a downside bias. I'm going to show you a retracement on this, and let's look and see. The 618 retracement is coming in right around this 30 3/4 level, and the 786 retracement is coming down where this gap fill is here. So these are probably two good areas to be watching for potential setups for short-term rallies back to the upside. Okay, so now let's take a look at XLE. I'm going to spread this chart out a little bit here so we can get a good look at it. So back here, this bar right here, you can see where my vertical, my horizontal cursor are. This is where we were on back on September 8th. And down at the D point, XLE came down here and completed the pattern. It had a rally to the upside. When you're working with patterns like this, it's important to study the patterns. There's all different kinds of price reactions that you can get from a pattern like this. This one had a nice rally to the upside. Traders can manage trades like this by either taking partial profits, trailing stops. Then it gapped down, but it held this same area that the pattern had completed at, excuse me, and then it's had a really strong rally and really a breakout above this resistance level to the upside. Might be getting a bit overbought here and maybe ready for a pullback. Possibly a test back down towards this area may offer another buy opportunity. Let's take a look at Schlumberger now. So very similar on Schlumberger, SLB. See here, the completion on this pattern, it skidded just kind of below where the actual completion is. But traders, of course, always use stop losses, and the stop losses would have been placed below this swing right here. The market turned, had a rally to the upside, very similar to, of course, XLE. I held that as support and is now taken off to the upside. Again, possibly a test back down into this area where the gap is, may offer another buy entry, but I think this is probably not the opportune time to be entering this. Back here is where the lowest risk is with a setup like this. And the other thing I'd like to point out with this is the RSI has now, it had a bullish divergence. You can see that down here. And it has been staying very bullish, and now it's continuing to climb to the upside. So I do think a pullback on this will offer another buying opportunity. And Haliburton. Haliburton, I'm going to move this out of the way here to show you the buy pattern. Here's the buy pattern. So it's the A, the B, the C, the D down. Retest of a recent low on that. Stops can be placed below there. And Haliburton, you can see the rally wasn't quite as strong on Haliburton as it was on the other two symbols, but still held the support area. And now today, the other two symbols, XLE and SLB, are acting a little bit stronger, and Haliburton is not trading, continuing up today. It made a high, and now it's trading, back down on this bar. So we have to see where that closes. But this formation here, this is an ABCD sell pattern. And Haliburton is right around this 127. And again, this could be a short-term opportunity for a little bit of a retracement to the downside. This is the weaker one out of the bunch. So this one might be a setup to look for a retracement back down. And then if it holds this as support, then another rally to the upside. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through these pattern setups and give you a little bit better idea of sort of what they look like when they play out. It's always nice when off of a buy pattern you just get a straight up move and it keeps going, but a lot of times you get something like this, and so it's important to learn how to manage your trades based on what the price actually does. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video today, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you soon on another Daily 5.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.